When you first start learning about math and the decimal system and how to write fractions as decimals, everything is just great. 1/10 is just zero point 0.1. Couldn't be better than that. 1 over 20, this is simple too. It's just 0.05. But then you look at something like 1 over 30, and things start to get a little unfortunate. This is 0.33, repeating on and on forever. The decimal expansions of some fractions terminate. They just stop, nice and simple. And then others are like this. So what's the difference here? Why do some decimal expansions just stop and others repeat infinitely? Well, like everything in life, from love to cybersecurity, it comes down to prime factors. Let's look at the decimal expansions of some more fractions, see which ones terminate and which ones repeat, and see if we can pick out the pattern that will let us figure out what's going on here. Note that for a decimal to repeat, we can notate that with a little bar above the digit or digits that repeat. So 1/3 is 0.3 repeating. I can write that as 0.3 with a bar over it. Of course, 1/2 is 0.5. Then we have 1 over 4. That decimal also terminates. It's just 0.25. 1/5, that's another nice decimal. It's just 0.2. What about 1/6? Well, that's half of a third. A third repeats infinitely, so perhaps it's no surprise that 1/6 repeats as well. 1/6 is 0.16, and that 6 repeats, so we put a bar over it. 1/7 is a really unsightly decimal. It is 0.14287. This whole thing repeats, so we need to put a bar over that whole thing. Then we have 1/8. That has a nice decimal expansion, just 0.125. Then we get to 1 over 9. This is 0.1 repeating. 1/10, of course, we've seen before, just a beautiful 0.1. And 1 over 11. This is 0.09, and these two digits repeat, so we put a bar over that. So there are a bunch of what we call unit fractions because their numerators are all 1. And we see some of the decimals terminate and others, the ones with bars over them, repeat. So what's the difference? Why do some behave in one way and others behave a different way? Like I said, it comes down to prime factors. So let's look at the numbers in the denominators and write out the prime factorization of each number. 1/2, of course, 2's prime factorization is just 2 because 2 is prime. 1 over 3, 3 is also prime, so the prime factorization is just 3. 4 is equal to 2 times 2. 5 is prime, so we'll put a 5 there. 6 has a prime factorization of 3 times 2. 7 is prime, so we'll just put a 7 next to it. 8 is beautiful. It's a cube number, so it's 2 times 2 times 2. 9 is a square. It's 3 times 3. 10 is equal to 5 times 2, and 11 is prime, so we'll just jot down 11. All right, now see if you can spot the pattern. What do the fractions with terminating decimal expansions have in common? Let's look at the prime factorizations. 1/2 terminates, and the prime factorization in the denominator is 2. 1/4 terminates. The prime factorization, 2 times 2. 1/5 terminates. It has 5 as the prime factorization. 1/8 terminates. Prime factorization, 2 times 2 times 2. 1/10 terminates. 5 times 2. And that's all we see here. So what do these terminating decimal expansions have in common? Well, the prime factorizations of the denominators are entirely made up of 2's and or 5's. What's special about 2's and 5's? Well, of course, we use the decimal system. It's a base 10 system, and the prime factorization of 10 is 5 times 2. So that's the key to whether or not the decimal expansion of a fraction is going to terminate or repeat infinitely. It depends on whether or not the prime factorization of the denominator has anything other than 2's or 5's. Let's go through a quick justification of this logic in general, so not just using unit fractions, but we'll just take an arbitrary fraction, a over b, and let's say that this fraction is in lowest terms, so it's fully reduced. If a and b had any common factors, we would have canceled them out to get this lowest terms fraction. And let's suppose that this fraction has a terminating decimal expansion. If that's the case, then we can write it like this: 0.d1, d2, and so on all the way up through that final decimal digit, dn. Now, what would we have to multiply this decimal expansion by for it to become a whole number? Well, we would need the decimal point to move over n places, so we would have to multiply by 10 to the n. If we multiply this decimal expansion by 10 to the n, we would get a whole number. Of course, this decimal expansion is equal to the fraction a over b. So if we multiply the fraction a over b by 10 to the n, that too will produce a whole number. But the only way that a divided by b times 10 to the n could be a whole number is if all of the denominator, b, canceled out with some of the 2's and 5's from 10 to the n. That's because for this to be a whole number, the denominator needs to get canceled out. But the only factors 10 has that could cancel out with the b is factors of 2 and 5. So b would have to be canceled out by some of those 2's and 5's. It's not going to necessarily cancel out all of the 2's and 5's in 10 to the n, but it will have to be completely canceled out by some of them for this to be a whole number. On the other hand, if b has factors other than 2 and 5, then of course it's not going to be canceled out by 10 to the n, and so this will not produce a whole number. In short, if a fraction has a terminating decimal expansion, then we can multiply it by some power of n to produce a whole number, but that forces the denominator of the fraction to only have factors of 2 and or 5. Otherwise, none of this would work. Now, this fully answers the question for rational numbers. If a number is rational, we can write it as a fraction, and we know that its decimal expansion will terminate if and only if, when fully reduced, the fraction's denominator consists only of factors of 2 and or 5. Otherwise, the expansion won't terminate. But what about irrational numbers? An irrational number, like pi, has a decimal expansion that neither terminates nor repeats, and it can't be written as a fraction. Very famous irrational numbers like pi, e, and root 2, like I said, have decimal expansions that neither terminate nor repeat. So why is that? Why do these numbers have to have infinite decimals that don't repeat? Well, it comes down to their definition. Like I said, for an irrational number, it can't be written as a fraction. It can't be written as a ratio of integers. So I want to finish with the argument that irrational numbers have a third type of decimal expansion. They don't terminate and they don't repeat. In order to show this, let's suppose that we have an irrational number, we'll call it q, and let's assume that it does have a repeating decimal expansion. So then I'll say the decimal expansion of this irrational number must look something like this: d1, d2, all the way up through dn, and these decimal digits repeat. Now, of course, it's possible that an irrational number is greater than or equal to 1, so maybe there's not a 0 here, and it's also possible that there are digits that occur before the repeating pattern, so it might not jump immediately into this repeating pattern. But if there were digits that occurred before the repeating pattern, say there were m digits that occurred first, let's just imagine we multiplied by 10 to the m so that all of those digits were moved to the left of the decimal point. And then let's just imagine we subtracted them away. That would still leave us with an irrational number. Multiplying by a power of 10 and subtracting whatever whole number was there, that wouldn't change the fact that this is irrational. So ultimately, we're just focusing on this idea that an irrational number might have a repeating decimal expansion, and we want to show that's not possible. And to do that, we'll use a classic argument that you might have seen before for 0.9 repeating. What we're going to do is show that we can write this as a fraction, and so it can't possibly be irrational. All right, the first thing we're going to do is multiply both sides of this equation by 10 to the power of n. So on the left, we'll have 10 to the power of n times q. On the right, when we multiply by 10 to the power of n, this decimal point is going to move over n places. And so this whole pattern, d1, d2 through dn, will now be to the left of the decimal point. But of course, it repeats infinitely. So to the right of the decimal point, we would still have this pattern continuing and repeating. d1, d2, all the way up through dn, and that would repeat. Just to try to avoid confusion, let me highlight the dots that are decimal points. That's a decimal point, and this is a decimal point. So after we multiply by 10 to the n, this whole pattern is now occurring to the left of the decimal point, but of course it continues infinitely also to the right of the decimal point. Now we just subtract the top equation from the bottom equation. When we take q away from 10 to the nq, how many q's do we have now? The answer, of course, is 10 to the n minus 1 q's, because we had 10 to the nq, but then we took 1 away. So that's on the left. What's on the right? Well, we did have this infinite decimal expansion, and that's what we subtracted. This infinite repeating pattern to the right of the decimal point, those will just cancel out, and we'll be left with this chunk to the left of the decimal point, which is some whole number, d1, d2, all the way up through that last units digit of dn. And now we see that q can certainly be written as a ratio of integers. This integer, d1, d2, up through dn, divided by this guy, 10 to the power of n minus 1. So if a number has a repeating decimal expansion, it can't possibly be irrational, because having a repeating decimal expansion implies that we can write it as a ratio of integers. Of course, if a number had a terminating decimal expansion, 0.d1, d2, up through some last decimal digit dn, this too implies that we could write it as a fraction. In particular, we could write such a number as this fraction, with d1 through dn as the whole number in the numerator, and divide this by 10 to the n. So this is the same as that. This, of course, is a fraction, so certainly if a number has a terminating decimal expansion, it too cannot be irrational, because it is rational. So that's the full story. Among rational numbers, they will have infinite repeating decimal expansions unless, when fully reduced, their denominators have only 2's and 5's in the prime factorization. And for rational numbers, we've seen that their expansions can't repeat and they can't be finite, so they have to be infinite, non-repeating decimal expansions, which look pretty horrific, which is why we just assign irrational numbers a nice, pretty symbol, often a Greek letter like pi or phi. Well, that was fun. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and be sure to subscribe for more of the swankiest math videos on the internet.
From my fate, twisting to escape this. Tie the knot on my wrist if you can break it. Breaking in my past, I'm making it up fast. So slow down, give me the time so I can fake it. Embrace the tone of words and just how I say shit. And let me speak my poetry to your face. It's not in the mid if you ain't listening. Not infinite if you ain't really into